Hey everybody, it's Mike. I'm back. I'm gonna do some Hare Krishna stuff, and uh, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna look at Knitting Cold Lady. I want to talk about this video, this doctor talking about spiritual narcissism, and I'm gonna talk about how that relates to ISKCON gurus and the whole Gaudiya Vaishnava bullshit. We'll be doing all of that. So I'm going to get right into it start with the opening. And here we go.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, all right. So I'm back. Little technical difficulties there. What do we got? Fake human. Hey, fake human, you're calling 911. Hey, already, show just started, and you're already calling in. Okay, so of course, I want to start with Knitting Cult Lady, and this is really she has she brings up a great point. And what's really great about her little videos that she does is that she's always reacting to comments from other people, and she always just nails it. Let me just say that she always nails it. Here we go. Well, let's see. Let me get out of the way here. Whoop, there we go.
Y'all, every cult says this. We're not a cult. You're free to leave anytime. If anyone says that, the group that they're talking about is definitely a cult. Because why would you even say that? Like, I've never had anyone walk up to me in a Costco and be like, ma'am, just so you know, you're free to leave anytime. When you're free to leave anytime, you don't have to say that. Never has to be said. Especially the way every cult says it the exact same way. We're not a cult because you're free to leave anytime. Well, newsflash, the Children of God religious cult, Westboro Baptist Church, all of these things that we know are very bad cults let you leave anytime. It is not a true statement that cults don't let you leave. That is not what exit costs mean. Not even a little bit. Means you're going to lose everything you care about when you leave. Sure, you're free to go, but let me remind you, the statement you're free to leave anytime is only used as a shutdown to critical complaint or to defend against a group not being a cult. It is used as, hey, my way or the highway, you're free to leave anytime. You can't change anything here, but you're free to leave. Okay, so when y'all hear that phrase, I want you to just take it and throw it away and keep looking at whatever group you were looking at as a cult. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote this best-selling, critically acclaimed book, Uncultured, about growing up in the Children of God cult, which I left when I was 15 because I told them I wanted to leave, lost everything, and was plunged into a world all on my own, a completely new country, by the way, the United States, in the great state of Texas, with $0. Yeah, it costs to leave cults, even when you are free to do so. You can get signed copies of Uncultured attached here, or listen to me read it to you on Spotify Premium or anywhere else you get your audiobooks. Y'all, every cult says this. We're not a cult. You're free.
Okay. So when she talks about exit costs, it's interesting when she brings up the exit costs. Because, when you leave the cult, as those of us that were in the cult, when you leave, you lose everything that you had, all your friends, because they're all in the cult. You lose your community, you lose your social network. Everything is gone, and so that's the cost. Even for me, uh, as much as I wanted to get out of there, and there was no doubt in my mind about me leaving. I still looked at the costs of X. It was like, and then once I was out, it was like, well, I'm not chanting anymore. I'm not reading these books anymore. I'm not associating with these people anymore. I'm not going to the temple anymore. I'm not doing any of that. It was a complete shattering of my life. It was like a completely different life that I had for the last 20 years. And it was a transitionary time. I have to say it was a transitionary time. And I can understand why a lot of these people uh, stay in, because that exit cost is just too much. So they're just like, they put up with the abuse. They put up with all the doubts that they have. They put up with all the cracks in their thinking. And they know that there's no demon head eating the moon. And they know that there's no guy growing out of a flower. But because the exit cost is so high, and everything, their whole life revolves around this, and they've been doing it for a while, and there's no other, what to speak of the people that are born into it, and they don't have any idea that they can even leave, because it's just the way they were born into it. That's a heavy duty. That's a heavy duty mind. That's heavy duty manipulation when your family's in it, your grandmother, your parents, your kid, your brothers and sisters, and they don't want to leave. You come to that conclusion on your own, and they don't want to. They're not leaving. My roommate, when I was contemplating leaving, and I was discovering all this garbage, and I would talk to him about it. I hadn't got to the Prabhupada part yet, but I had gotten to the part about Tattva Darshan and so many other things. And he was with me the whole way until it came to actually putting his foot down with Tattva Darshan. He couldn't do it. I did. I wasn't expecting him to leave, but he realized that the exit cost, that was putting his foot down, was basically exiting. He knew better than me that was. So he was just bullshitting with me, and then when I finally made the decision, he was like, "Well, I'm not making that decision. You're on your own with that." Because he knew that he wasn't in any position to leave. So, uh, and that brings me to this point from this Hare Krishna page that I encourage everyone to go visit if you haven't already. Maybe you have. It's Hare Krishna Cult Exposed.blogspot.com. And I just wanted to share this one little paragraph here, because again, she would know better than me. She was married to one of these guys, and but she says here, she says, quote, "These puffed up charlatans are fully aware that they have wasted their lives chasing delusions. Like video game addicts who have lost touch with reality, many senior ISKCON devotees in leadership positions live like petty tyrants drunk with power, surrounded by hordes of their fawning acolytes. Most of all, they fear critics who would expose their candy-coated fake Hinduism to the public, especially the genuine Hindu organizations and politicians whose support is essential to their mission." So she says, these guys know uh, that they're cosplaying. They're cosplaying and chasing delusions, like video game addicts. They've lost touch, and that's, I think they have lost touch in the sense that they can't function in the real world. They just can't. They just can't. They can't. That's what I'm saying. If you're over 60 years old, and you're in this pushing a shopping cart full of books around a Costco parking lot, and that's all you know how to do, then stay in. You wasted your life. The exit cost is too high. You're not going to be able to deal with that transition. Just stay in. Stay in and fake it. Like all these other people are faking it. And you're gonna end in staying in and faking it too, and that's your whole wasted life. Wasted life. Cosplaying as a 15th century Bengali homosexual, whatever. Hey Tim, good to see you, man. Uh, hey, it's great that you're here. I got another couple great videos. Yeah, please hit the like button if you can, everybody. That'd be great. So let me see here. One thing I want to do is I want to take us out away from this brick wall and take us to a nice location. Let's say somewhere in Vrindavan. Let's see, and we can go right here to Mansi Ganga, I think it's called. This is where this is where Krishna manifested the Ganges right here. This is in Vrindavan, at Govardhan, where Krishna manifested the Ganga, because evidently he needed to take a bath in the Ganga because he killed a demon in the shape of in the shape of a calf or something. I don't know. And everybody told him, they said, "Hey man, you just killed a calf. You can't do that. You got to go. You got to go purify yourself in the lakes, in the waters of Lake Winnetonka, or no, not Winnetonka. You got to purify yourself in the lake, in the waters of the Ganges." And he said, "Well, I'm not going all the way over there. I'll just make the Ganges come here." And he thought about it, and the Ganges came out of his head, and this is it right here. So he went, and that's this place. So we'll just go ahead and do the show from here. Why not? I mean, it's as good a place as any. So the other thing I wanted to bring up before we get to the main thing is I saw this video, and it's kind of long, but I'm not going to watch the whole thing. But it made me think. It made me think of ISKCON and this whole their whole guru thing and their poison thing and all this stuff. And so I wanted to share it and see.
Hop on an indivisible call here in just a second, but I wanted to share something that Amanda from Amanda's Mild Takes said, because I think she so perfectly articulated the same position that I hold on this issue, and one that I think a lot of people need to hear and draw courage from.
There is no such thing. That's not real. Every session of Congress changes life in America. Every president changes life in America. Every single one. American history is a rolling out of a carpet, right? Like every day we are writing it. There's no going back to anything for anyone. Liberals' desires to get back to normal are just as delusional. I'm not saying this is you, but in general, are just as delusional as conservatives' desires to make America great again.
Yep.
That's just not real.
Totally.
So I thought of ISKCON when I heard that, because these Ritviks think that they want to go back. I've heard this ever since I first got into Hare Krishna. Was all of these devotees want things to go back to the way it was when Prabhupada was here. Oh, if things would just go back to the way they were. When Prabhupada was here, the temples were full. When Prabhupada was here, we all did this. When Prabhupada was here, we all did that. And it was just the greatest time ever. And everyone was just everything. And it was just the golden age when Prabhupada was here. Hey, Howard Johnson, thanks for joining, man. Great to see you. So I know a lot of you have heard the same thing, that it was just the good old days, if we could just recreate the good old days. And the Ritviks think that they're going to recreate the good old days, that if they could just prove that Prabhupada was poisoned, and that the July 9th letter, and that if they can sue their way out of it, that somehow everything's going to go back to the good old days, back to the way it was. And there is no going back. This lady's right. There's no going back to the way, to the first of all, there were no good old days. Hey Trey, good to see you here. uh, there were no good old days. Um, I know there were no good old days, but in their mind, they want to go back. And a lot of people, a lot of people have that nostalgia, sentimentality, or whatever you want to call it, where they wish that things could go back to better, easier, simpler times. And the fact is, times were never better and simpler in the past. They were always harder. They were always harder and more difficult and whatever. It's just our memory of that. Oh, back then things just seemed so much better back then, but they weren't. So this whole idea that somehow if they print Prabhupada's original books and they get back to the July 9th letter and they prove that these guys poisoned Prabhupada and blah, 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 somehow they're going to recreate these good old days. And I just wanted to share that, remind people that there's no such thing. That doesn't happen. Like she said, time and history is like a carpet that rolls out. There's no going back. It moves forward. So what the Ritviks don't understand is that they, even if they can create their own Ritvik movement, they still have to deal with what's already there. There's no eliminating the mess that ISKCON is without just eliminating it altogether. You have to just eliminate it altogether. You have to just eliminate the whole thing. Ritvik, Shitvik, ISKCON, BISKCON, all of it. It all has to go. And that's what they don't understand. Because they just don't understand it. They think they can fix it. So let me see. Where am I here? So this video just came out today. It was posted, I don't know, yesterday, I guess. And I watched it. I watched a little bit of it, and it was fascinating. And I don't know if I watched the whole thing, but I was just like, wow. And so it just came out yesterday, and I don't even know. It just popped up on my feed, I guess, because I wasn't searching anything. It was just like, oh, what's this? I clicked on it, and boy, I'm glad I clicked on it. And this is from. Her name is Dr. Anna Yudin, and it's called. Her page is called Psychology with Dr. Anna. Hey, Glenn, how you doing, man? I'm glad you're here to see this live, so we can all talk about it, because this is really interesting. And this is like a lot of stuff that I've never really heard. It's like psychology and cult mixed together. I don't know if she's really into cults, but she's into she's a psychologist, and I don't know if cult is part of her thing, but it's her page is called Psychology with Dr. Anna, and this video is called The Psychology of Spiritual Narcissism, and there's a lot of insight in here. Hey, Liam, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. Goddamn criminals, yeah. I mean, they're narcissists, and so she explains a lot. So I wanted to share this, and so here we are in India at Govardhan Hill, on the banks of the Mansi Ganga, and we're gonna watch this video, a little bit of this video, and I'll comment on it. Dr. Anna. So here she is. Let's see.
Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about spiritual narcissism. Before we get into it, I do want to mention this is not an official subtype of narcissistic personality disorder. There's actually quite limited research on the link between narcissism and spirituality, but a spiritual narcissist has been sort of unofficially defined as someone who uses spirituality to feed their ego and to exploit others. So in today's video, I'm going to share some of the characteristics of spiritual narcissists according to what little research there is available on this. Let's get started. So, what are some of the characteristics of spiritual narcissists? The first one is that they feel superior to others due to a sense of spiritual enlightenment. They position themselves as sort of spiritual leaders in order to derive admiration or a sense of superiority and validation. Sometimes they might claim they have special access to divine information, like God talking through them, telling them what other people need to do, or special paranormal abilities, what's called in the literature supernatural overconfidence. Like they literally think they're superhuman. They think they are more special than every other human on this planet. And because they feel superior to those they deem to be less enlightened, what that also means is they tend to be quite close-minded to other schools of thought, which results in this dogmatism. They tend to build a spiritual culture that's devoid of debate or humor and to eliminate critics, so that it's only their enlightened divine voice that other people are listening to. Another characteristic of spiritual narcissists is that their self-worth is contingent on their spiritual accomplishments. Now, typically the point of spirituality is to transcend the self, to transcend the ego, to feel at one with the entire universe. But for narcissists, this kind of backfires, and spirituality becomes actually a way of strengthening the ego. It's not about how they're at one with the world or about accepting themselves in their totality as imperfect, but rather about placing themselves at the top of a hierarchy. They're not actually more enlightened in the sense that they are able to transcend their selfish needs. They think there's a hierarchy of enlightenment and they're at the top of it.
Yes, so this is so true. ISKCON attracts narcissists. It does attract them, and it creates them, because Prabhupada gives them the recipe, and there's a lot of things going on. But yeah, it attracts them. It gives them a place to. Well, she'll explain. It gives them a place to thrive. So this is really she really covers a lot in a short period of time in this. Hey Dan, I'm glad you're here to see this live so we can all talk about it. Yeah, this video is awesome. It just came out, and yeah, she's right on the money, and she's like a doctor of psychology, and that's what makes it so powerful. And I totally understand everything she's saying, and I relate to it. I'm just not a doctor of psychology, right? Like, what do I know?
Since they're not at all quieting the ego. Another characteristic is that spiritual narcissists derive their self-worth from their ability to heal or help others, which sounds good on the surface. It can sound a little bit more like communal narcissism, where a person derives their self-worth from being able to help the community, to help the collective. And actually, spiritual narcissism and communal narcissism tend to be quite correlated. But although it's obviously great to help people, if you're doing it because that's what you need in order to feel worthy rather than because you actually care about people and have empathy for them, then that means that you have extrinsic motivations underlying your spiritual behaviors rather than intrinsic ones. In other words, you're not really internally spiritual. You're doing spiritual things and helping other people because it makes you feel better as a person.
Okay, now there's a key. There's a key is like you're not really feeling enlightened. You're not really progressing in on a spiritual path because it's not real, but you're pretending you're doing it, and then that makes you feel superior to those that are not pretending that they're doing it. I mean, she's just so on the nose, and all of us that have been in ISKCON have seen this like firsthand. We've experienced. We know exactly what she's talking about. We lived it. We've lived what she's talking about. And I want to just go back a little bit.
Things and helping other people because it makes you feel better as a person. Another characteristic is spiritual bypassing, which is when you avoid the darker side of psychology through spirituality, whether it means, kind of brushing your traumas under the rug, or avoiding accountability, or avoiding painful emotions. Spiritual narcissists tend to try to bypass those darker sides of psychology. A big example is toxic positivity. They will sometimes call certain emotions that are more painful, like low vibration, claim that anybody who has a criticism.
They told me I was low. They told me I was a low vibe. They totally said that I was, when they first, I forget who it was on some Hare Krishna page, but they told me I was low. They said I was low vibe because I was criticizing them. So she's definitely right on the, she hit that one right on the nose too.
A big example is toxic positivity. They will sometimes call certain emotions that are more painful like low vibration, claim that anybody who has a criticism of them is just not enlightened enough. They also tend to have a very performative false sense of humility. For example, they might call themselves God's servant or God's humble servant, but really what they're saying is God is speaking through me.
Right. It's like we all know that, right? They all want to be this humble servant, and yet they want all this praise and all this glorification. I mean, that's what was so weird about my friend Radha Kund, is that he always wanted to be this humble. I'm just this humble piece of shit devotee that Prabhupada saved me, and I was this, whatever. I was just so whatever, and I was so lowly, and now and Prabhupada saved me. So now, Sri Mukunda, I'm your elder godbrother, and I am like really, I'm just, you need to like just. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You just took me to a strip club. I don't understand what's going on, man. You just told me that I just had to go to the strip club, and you wanted me to see what was going on. Like it was like we were on this mission. We almost got our asses kicked. I almost got killed, like in the back alley of some Bangkok. I don't know where we were, and and you almost got me killed. If I felt like I was on like a James Bond chase through the streets of Bangkok, getting away from some strip club owner bouncer guy. I don't know what was happening, but because I put my because I trusted this Radha Kund guy, and then and now 2 days later you want me to anoint you as the holy man of all of Vrindavan or what and you gotta be out of your mind. You literally gotta be out of your mind. You literally gotta be out of your mind.
When I say something, that's really God, and you have to listen to what God is saying. In reality, what they're doing is projecting their own desires and motivations onto a God figure. They're misattributing their own thoughts and feelings to the divine. And
all right, let's get back. I want to hear that again, because I really liked that the first 3 times I the first 3 times I heard it.
In reality, what they're doing is projecting their own desires.
Hold on.
Servant or God's humble servant, but really what they're saying is God is speaking through me, and therefore when I say something, that's really God, and you have to listen to what God is saying. In reality, what they're doing is projecting their own desires and motivations onto a God figure. They're misattributing their own thoughts and feelings to the divine. And this false sense of humility really shows that they display a persona that is the complete opposite of their true self, which is rather grandiose. They portray themselves as being very humble, but in reality they think very, very highly of themselves. They're not.
So every one of us, we can relate what she's saying to these gurus, Prabhupada in specifically Prabhupada, but we can also apply this to the other gurus, all these other gurus. But I can apply everything that she's saying to my friend Radha Kund, and all my other devotee friends as well. Yashoda Nandan, and all of them. They all have the same characteristics that she is saying that apply to Prabhupada. If you don't care what they think, you're free. Wait, what is it? If you don't care what they think, you're free. Humility on steroids. Nobody's more humble than me. I'm the most humble person ever. Have seen so many times where devotees twist any questions or doubts into being evidence of problems with the asker's spiritual life. Yeah, like you wouldn't even ask that question if you weren't, obviously asking that question means you're not fixed up and, you don't understand devotion. I don't know. It was, they say you lost your bhakti, made offenses, no security, always, but absolutely lack of answers. Or they just talk in circles and say that you can't understand it. Like this Guru Hari Das, you talk in circles, and he's got these idiots laughing and crying because they think that's what they're supposed to be doing. That shows that they're elevated. That shows that they're making spiritual progress. Otherwise, how does anybody know that I'm spiritual? If I'm not laughing and crying when I hear the holy name, and I'm not tears running down, and I'm and doing all this stuff, then how would anybody know? Certainly, I got to display some symptoms of being in an advanced state. Otherwise, what good is being in an advanced state if nobody if nobody knows it? Especially in today's world, where like everybody lives for Snapchat and Instagram and posting this and posting that. So if nobody knows that I'm in spiritual ecstasy, am I really in spiritual ecstasy? I mean, I have to. What good is it if I'm not showing it off? I mean, I don't. I you know. This is so true. Who cares? Just turn it back on them and make them feel like they've offended you. It's their BS. Their BS is over, man. You know, if people who just have a little bit of intelligence and pay a little bit of attention, and it doesn't take a whole lot to just really be able to connect the dots and see what's going on. And then when you see the whole big picture, it becomes really disgusting and sick and perverted and evil and sinister and all of those things. I mean, seriously, I don't want to sound like Rosemary's Baby, Rosemary's Baby or anything, or some Tipper Gore where everything is a satanic ritual or anything. But seriously, the things that we've talked about and I've discussed and I've shown and videos that I've watched and shown about this cult, it practically is Rosemary's Baby. I mean, they're coming after 13-year-old girls. They want to marry them off to 37-year-old creepy guys, just approaching strange women going, hey, your daughter looks pretty. Would you mind if I fix her up with my 37-year-old creepy son who wants a 13-year-old? I mean, come on, man. I mean, what do they have to do? Sacrifice a kid right there in front of everybody in order for people to wake up and go, hey, this is a fucking disgusting ass cult? It's all a show about position, status, achievement. Their MO now is utilizing people who want to be big social media stars. It's all a show about position, status, and achievement. Yeah, it's... Retards are us, Mental Incorporated. This doctor, this psychologist here, she has really nailed the whole guru thing. She's just pulled the curtain back on the psychology of the guru cult leader in ISKCON, in the Gaudiya Vaishnav, because it's not just Prabhupada, it's all of them. They all have this God man, narcissistic, I'm a pure devotee. I've appeared. Wasn't just born. I appeared, and I have mercy, and I have His Holiness before my name. And I have Swami after my name. So that, I gotta be something. Even though I'm just a horny 80-year-old man who wants to have sex with my 35-year-old disciple. We don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about how I'm Trivikram Swami, His Holiness. I deserve to be called His Holiness. For what? I don't know. I don't know what the hell he did to be called His Holiness, or His Divine Grace, or His Grace. What kind of grace? The narcissism. I'm the humble servant of Krishna, but you must call me His Holiness, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Vedanta Madhurya Rasa Leela Vaidamta whatever. Ananda Swami G. Doesn't that sound humble to you? I have 15 names. Doesn't that mean anything? These people are fucking these people are fucking mental. Let me put this back up there. Retards are us, man. Man, that is
the divine. And this false sense of humility really shows that they display a persona that is the complete opposite of their true self, which is rather grandiose. They portray themselves as being very humble, but in reality, they think very, very highly of themselves. They're not humble at all if you read between the lines of what
you don't even have to read between the lines. You just watch Prabhupada. He wants you to think that he's just a humble servant. Oh, I'm your humble servant, your well-wisher. I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And yet, he's got these chairs that he's sitting in, and they're bringing him flowers and food and waiting on him like he's he's the Danish ambassador. They're and they're washing his feet and drinking the water and doing all this shit. Now they do that shit to a statue of him. They're like, he's gone, but they're like, well, we're still going to do that anyway. We don't care. We're going to wash his feet, and we're going to drink the water, and we're going to put clothes on him, and we're going to do all this stuff like that's him. Because he was so humble. Because he was so humble.
their true self, which is rather grandiose. They portray themselves as being very humble, but in reality, they think very, very highly of themselves. They're not humble at all if you read between the lines of what they're saying. And another characteristic is that spiritual narcissists weaponize spirituality against those who don't obey. They often take part in a defense mechanism called splitting, which creates this sort of in-group, out-group dynamic. In-group people who agree with them are all good, and the out-group people who maybe have some criticisms of what they say are all bad. Any critics are just low vibe. And because they have this very intense schism in how they see people, anyone who isn't 100% validating them is at risk of receiving a sense of paranoia from them. They're afraid of dissent, they're afraid of abandonment, and because of that, they're constantly sort of hypervigilant and on the lookout for people disobeying them. And this results in also a lot of manipulation and control. This is actually how cult leaders isolate cult members from outsiders. They encourage them to cut off all of their family, all of their support systems, certainly anyone who is critical of the cult leader, and then often they guilt them into loyalty or obedience by emotional blackmail. A reason why spiritual narcissists are so exploitative is because, as part of narcissism, there is a lack of empathy, a deficit in empathy, so they can easily justify when they exploit or hurt others. In their head.
So I just want to know, the more I watch these videos of these different people that are cult experts, I'm realizing that I'm actually a cult expert, because she just used the same terminology that I've been using, which is emotional blackmail, spiritual blackmail, and that's really what it is. It goes beyond manipulation. Manipulation is like, a salesman talking somebody into buying something they don't need. But blackmail is like really putting the screws.
Can kind of rewrite what.
Blackmail is not just manipulating someone. It's a form of like violence. It goes beyond just manipulation. It's like manipulation, times 9 or something is what it is. So
when they exploit or hurt others. In their heads, they can kind of rewrite what happened to frame themselves still as some sort of messiah. Narcissists tend to feel less guilt because they tend to rationalize, distort, and reinterpret the facts of what happened in a self-serving way, which means that they're more likely to lash out at others than to actually look inward for strength and accountability for themselves. And so spiritual narcissists can be quite controlling, which is ironic because a lot of spirituality in many faiths is releasing control, sort of practicing acceptance and non-attachment to outcomes. But spiritual narcissists, ironically, are very, very controlling, particularly with other people, but also with their own experiences and emotions and everything. So all in all, spiritual narcissists portray themselves as being something that they're not. They act religious or spiritual when internally they lack what actually makes a person spiritual. Ego death, releasing control, empathy for others, a sense of oneness with other people. They portray themselves as being humble when actually they're quite grandiose. They portray themselves as helping the collective when really they're pursuing selfish self-interests. They portray themselves as kind while manipulating, controlling, and exploiting other people. Side note, if you've ever experienced spiritual narcissism, whether it's, in your religious organization or ever dated one, ever known one as a friend, I'd be really curious to hear about that because I personally have not encountered one that I know of. So I'm really interested what your lived experiences have been. So pop that in the comments down below. Now let's talk
Everybody
a little
go leave
bit
your
more
comment
in depth
in
about
our
what the
video.
research says about spiritual narcissists. Contrary to popular opinion,
swamp her with
religiosity is
guru
not
stories.
decreasing because of increasing rates of narcissism. That is a common thing that people say, is that people are becoming less and less religious because they're becoming more and more narcissistic and selfish. Research shows that grandiose narcissists tend to actually be less internally spiritual. Like I mentioned, they are less humble, forgiving, apologetic, empathetic, and yet they report similar levels of religiosity as the general population. In other words, they seem just as religious as the average person externally, but they're less so internally.
Let me ask you something. Would you rather...
Okay. Let's get back over here. And we are back on the banks of the Mansagangi. Right? Is that how you say it? Manasaganga? And that is where Krishna manifested the Ganges from his mind. And this is located right here in Govardhan Hill. In fact, it's right kind of like in the middle of Govardhan Hill. So you got Radhakunda on one side of Govardhan Hill, and then you've got the town of Govardhan kind of in the middle, and then you've got Jati, I think is Jatipur or Jati on the other end of Govardhan Hill. So that's where this is. So this is right in the middle of Govardhan Hill. So let's see. We have a couple comments here that I didn't get to. So we got fake human, my favorite fake human, humble cow, tit abuser. Can't stand the whole His Holiness or His Divine Grace for unremarkable and often seriously flawed dudes. I know. And even after they're caught with little girls, underage girls, like, this Rameshwar, they still want to call him, His Holiness Rameshwar or I don't know what they call him. But he's not Rameshwar. He's Robert Grant or whatever the fuck his name is. That's who he is. You're gonna, that's like my friend who dresses up as a medieval knight, and he goes and he does these medieval wars. And when he's in the medieval war, he served, Lancelot or whatever, right? But when he comes back from that, I don't call him Sir Lancelot, right? He's got a name. His name is Chuck or whatever his name is. He's not Sir Lancelot. I'm not calling these guys Rameshwar. I'm not calling these guys Indrayumna Swami. He's no fucking Indrayumna Swami. He's a fucking degenerate. Tibbets. Brian Tibbets or whatever the fuck his name is. No fucking Indrayumna Swami. That's an insult to every Hindu on the planet that believes in the name of Indrayumna is part of their Vedic culture or their Hindu culture, for this creep to be running around calling himself Indrayumna Swami. Every Indian who goes to a friggin' temple and believes in Vishnu should be pissed off that this Brian Tibbets fuck is running around calling himself Indrayumna Swami. No, they want to come in here and ask me stupid ass questions. They want to come in here and ask me stupid ass questions while they got a fucking degenerate running around calling himself Indrayumna Swami. And they got a friggin' degenerate named Kirtanananda Swami, the friggin' Keith Ham, buried in Vrindavan. Now, how do you bury a fucking degenerate like that in a holy place? Every friggin' Hindu in India should be pissed off about that. But no, they want to come into my chat and ask me, hey, bro, are you an atheist? Bro, you an atheist? So yeah, I mean, seriously, I agree. The Indians should be pissed off at ISKCON. They should be pissed off at ISKCON, defiling the name of Krishna and Vishnu. No, you know what they do? You know what they do? They bamboozle these guys. They bamboozle these guys into
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
there he is, child molester, right there in the front. The first thing they show you is this child molester getting flowers put around his neck when they're gonna open up a new temple in India, and the Prime Minister of India is gonna go and inaugurate this temple alongside this friggin' child molester. Right alongside this child molester. Look at these guys. There's a guy that ran off with his 35-year-old disciple. I take this 35-year-old disciple. You got the child molester that touched an 11-year-old girl. Who knows who that guy is? Who knows who these people are? But I can give you a pretty good guess. who these people are. I know all these children are in danger, and I know these women don't give a fuck about these children.
Hare Krishna,
I know that much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
I was just saying how they fooled the Danish ambassador to India into going and offering the key lamp to these pedophiles. And then now they got the Prime Minister of India goes and inaugurates their new temple. Meanwhile, their books are full of bullshit. Pedophilia, racism, sexism, homophobia, everything. All that shit. And these people go and legitimize this bullshit. It shit drives me crazy. I just don't get it. I just don't get why. Well, I understand because India is like, hey, we don't care. We're the rape capital of the world. What do we care? ISKCON is making Indians look bad. Bunny, go chant your rounds. Bunny, I left ISKCON a year ago. Okay, well, good for you. I hope you didn't go to like Narayan Maharaj or something like that. Likewise, it is disrespecting Hindu holy names. It's totally disrespectful of Hindu. You know, and that was one of the criticisms that Prabhupada got, was bringing this bullshit over to America and spreading it to like Americans. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Prabhupada was wrong in coming over here and making people like Keith Ham and all these other degenerates, Rameshwar, Brahmananda and Gargamuni and all of these guys. They had no business becoming swamis and going out and preaching to people and ruining their lives. He had no business doing that. He had no business doing that. Teaching them to be racist and sexist and hate women and all of these things, and then go spread them out among the spread them all over the world to go preach that bullshit and spread his books. That's more like a multi-level marketing scheme than a spiritual movement. These guys needed to be trained up for years. They needed like at least 10 years of being of doing what they were doing so that they could fall down and fall away. No, he gives them, he makes them swamis within 2-3 years, and then they spend a couple of years as swamis, start having problems. So he's, well, I better make some more. And I make some more inexperienced swamis that don't know if they want to get married. They don't know if they want to have kids. They're throwing chairs at their pregnant wives. They're jumping in the Ganges because they don't know if they're gay or not, or if they had sex with someone and they feel guilty, so now they're going to commit suicide. All these mental issues. And Prabhupada thought he was saving the world. Fuck, he was created a friggin' open air mental asylum. Hey Mike, I want to know you, what's your background and all. Can you give an intro about yourself? Yeah, I have a whole bunch of videos about myself. You can go watch the first one. You can watch the first 3 or 4 videos. I did a whole series about how I got into the Hare Krishnas and what I did in the Hare Krishnas, and then how I got out of the Hare Krishnas. I spent like 5 hours talking about that shit. I mean, I'm not I'm not upset with you. I'm just saying, it's a bunch of bullshit, and I spent 5 hours talking about it, and that was it. I was in Hare Krishnas for 20 years. And the first 10, I was hanging around the LA temple, and I was doing all kinds of shit. That's why you got to watch my videos, doing all kinds of shit. And then the last 10 years, I was working with the Ritviks, with Yashodanandan and all of those wackos, working with them. So and then I left. And so that's what I did. Yeah, I was in for like 20 years. 20 years of this 20 years of stuff. Yeah, and my daughter had a bad time. My daughter had a bad time. So that wasn't good. So fast track, swamis bound to fail. Aspirants are supposed to live with and serve their prospective guru for a year before first initiation. Yeah, and Prabhupada wasn't doing any of that. So, and I understand what Prabhupada was doing. He was trying to get his books printed, and he was trying to get this cult going, and he was sending these guys out with their books to preach, sell his books, collect money, collect donations. I understand that, and he was doing whatever he could to get this shit going, and that doesn't make it right, but I understand what he was doing. Prabhupada's like, I don't have time for these guys to come live with me for a year. Maybe Keith Ham and Satsvarupa and Hayagriva, or I don't know, maybe those guys got to spend, 6 months or a year, but so what? Like, who cares? You can't, no one's going to convince me that these guys deserve, these, Kirtanananda, come on, man. Hamsaduta, Brahmananda, Gargamuni, Rameshwar, Tamal Krishna. These were the best guys he could get, and he didn't even train them up. He was like, okay, 6 months, whatever, and he was busy doing his own thing. He gives them their stick, their Swami, and Yashodanandan, Guru Kripa. These are the people that he had? You're going to try and convince me that these were swamis? You might as well have had Tony Soprano and friggin' the guy from Goodfellas in there. Might as well made them swamis. What, am I a swami to you? What, do I look like a swami to you? I think that guy was bad. The fuck? That's what it was. I mean, basically, that's what it was. It's like you had a bunch of guys like Tony Soprano and Henry Hill and Fat Tony and Michael Corleone and the Bhavananda from Andy Warhol and Tamal Krishna from who the fuck knows where. They're like the lowest of the lowest of society. He couldn't get one great philosophical, like he couldn't get one real spiritual person to join his movement. All he got were these guys, Jaya Pataka, and these guys who end up like defending child molesters and protecting child molesters for 30, 40, 50 years. That's all they're good at. Is there anything these guys are good at? Protecting child molesters. These are the kind of people that Prabhupada attracted around him, that he preached to, that came to him. People like Madhu Visa. You read those conversations. I'll tell anybody out there that's watching. You're ex-devotee or you're still in it. You're watching this video. You go to the Veda base. I'll show you. Go to the Veda base, and like you don't even have to search. You don't even have to search like words, right? You just go and click on where it says library, and then find where it says like the letters and morning walks, and start reading those. That's what I was doing because I'd read everything. So once I had the digitized, it wasn't online at this when I did it. I had it on CD, and I went and I just started searching for. I went into this where it says letters books. The letters. Here it is. Letters. Start reading these letters. Then you start to get a really good idea of what Prabhupada has to say, what Prabhupada thinks, how he talks to them, how they talk to him. There's a lot in here. This is where, like as Bill Burr says, this is where all the questions are answered. Oh, and they do have the transcription. So then here too, you have lecture transcription. So he gave this lecture, Bhagavad Gita 2, chapter 2, verse 59 to 69, April 18th, 1966 in New York. And here you can listen to it, and then you can read along. You can read along with it. I didn't know they had it part of the Veda base, but I knew there was a book with all these lectures. This is a lot to read. But again, this is where you're going to find out a lot of bullshit that he says, things that are not in his books that he says. I haven't read all of this, but I browsed through it. But it was the letters and the morning walks where you get a good idea of how fucking racist and sexist and what assholes these guys were. Brahmananda and Gargamuni and Yashodanandan and all of these guys. There's a conversation I found. I can't find it now, but there was a conversation that I found where Yashodananda is asking, and this is Yashodananda that I'd known for 10 years, where Yashodananda is asking Prabhupada if he can beat the children. Can we beat them? And the first couple of times Yashodananda asks, Prabhupada doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't understand. Either he doesn't hear it properly, but he keeps asking him. He's like, what? And then finally Yashodananda says, can we beat them if they're not listening and not doing what we tell them? Can we beat them? And Prabhupada says, yes, you can beat them. And that bothered me. That bothered me a lot because I had heard that Yashodananda had abused some of the kids. You know, he had roughed them up. I had heard that. That was kind of like a rumor that I had heard. And he even tried to nip it in the bud by saying, "Hey, you know, I just want you to know that I never touched anybody." He said, "I never touched anybody," because I think there was one Guru Coolie that was running around saying that Yashodananda had beat him up or something. And then I come across that conversation where Yashodananda is asking Prabhupada if he can beat the kid. Can we beat the children? Can we beat them? And Prabhupada says, yes, you may beat them. ISKCON never punishes the abuser. They just never do. It's, as they do, as they don't. Right, exactly. They just don't. That one girl said that after she got raped, she got punished. They put her to work in the kitchen. She couldn't talk to anybody. She had to sneak around if she wanted to say anything to anybody because she wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. She was on punishment for being a rape victim. How sick is that? How sick is that as a spiritual organization? See, that's part of the whole organization is narcissistic. They don't want to, as a whole organization, they don't want to deal with critics or bad things, so to the point where they're gonna they're gonna punish the girl that was raped. It makes no sense. Shopping cart books, man, I swear. Shopping cart full of books. When I saw that video, I'm gonna do a whole thing where we just watch that video. Kirtananda is still glorified. He's still glorified, man. He got a samadhi like the one behind me, like this one right here. He's got something like that. I think it's smaller, but he got something like that. He's got something like that. Bedtime story salesman. A book beggar, someone who begs and gives a book in return. What about now? Do you chant your rounds now? You got to be out of your mind. You got to be out of your mind chanting rounds. That is the stupidest thing. I mean, hey, if you want to chant and meditate, and that's, if you want to chant and meditate, that's up to you. And if it brings you joy, great. I ain't knocking that. But if you're doing it because you think it's like some kind of devotional service that's going to advance you spiritually and make you grow as a person and make you, like this narcissism and make you spiritually advance because you're chanting 16 rounds or 32, I chant 64, you're delusional. You're delusional. If you chant and it makes you happy and you meditate and it makes you happy, it's no different than playing tennis and it makes you happy, or gardening makes you happy, or anything else makes you happy. In fact, those things make you more happy because they're real. If you're gardening and you're getting happiness from it, that's, but even my friend who goes and recreates these medieval battles, and he dresses up with armor and he's got these swords and he goes out and they fight the Battle of Muckenduck or whatever it is that they do. He's having a lot of fun doing it. And it's not real. It's just not real. It's all pretend. It's all pretend, and it's cosplaying. It's LARPing. It's live action role play. They're just pretending. Pretending to be a Hindu priest and pretending to be living in the thousands of years ago. Lived in this ancient Vedic times with Vedic chants and blowing the conch shell and doing all this stuff. That's cosplaying. It's no different than my friend that goes and pretends like he's a hobbit and he goes and he fights these stupid wars. It's fun if that's what you want to do. But you're not getting no spiritual benefit. There's no You're not going back to Godhead. There's no four-headed guy. Nobody's playing a flute. There's no gopis having sex down by the river. There's none of that. But if you want to read those books and have fun reading pedophile stories, I don't know, it's kind of weird, you know. All the pedophilia stuff, little girls, the descriptions of the little girls with their breasts and the milk and all of that stuff and their hips, those are little girls he's describing. Talking about women like to be raped, women have small breasts, all this stuff. These are the books that you're talking about. These are the same books that tell you to chant Hare Krishna and do all these things. It's all coming from these same disgusting fucking books. Why would you want to have anything to do with that? There's a lot of other ways to have fun than to chant these mantras that this friggin' pedophile Prabhupada, this pedopod wants you to chant. Like, why? Why would I want to do anything that has to do with that fuck? I can go to this Mansi Ganga and enjoy the pictures and enjoy all of this beautiful architecture and whatever. I don't have to have, it doesn't have to have anything to do with Swami Pedopod and any of his cult. Zero. So the answer to that question is no, I don't chant rounds. Who the heck is Kirtanananda? Well, maybe you should look him up. I don't know. If you call yourself a devotee and you don't know who Kirtanananda is, then you got issues. I don't know what to tell you. You were in ISKCON for a year. You don't know who Kirtanananda is. You don't know what ISKCON is. You were in ISKCON for a year, or you were in ISKCON and you left, and you don't know what you were involved with. You're lucky. You're lucky. You dodged a bullet. I don't know what to tell you. Kirtanananda. Never heard of him. I'm from India. Well, let's just say you dodged a bullet. I'm glad you're out of ISKCON. I'm glad you got nothing to do with them, and you should keep it that way. And if you ever meet a Hare Krishna, you just tell him you're not interested and just keep on pushing. That's what you should tell him. He's pretty much the real leader of ISKCON. He thought of himself as the leader. I don't know. I don't know how you could be part of ISKCON for a year or be part of ISKCON and not know the history of this cult. How can you not know the history of this cult? Especially in today's world where there's internet, there's just so much information, like an overflow of information. But you got me, and now I told you that the guy is a disgusting pedophile, and now you know who Kirtanananda was. He's a disgusting pedophile who put a hit out on a devotee who got 2 bullets put in his head. The guy had a trial, went to trial, guy was convicted. Conviction was overturned in an appeal on a technicality, and then they retried him on some other charges, and he got sentenced to 20 years in jail. He served so many years in jail, and then he got out. And then he died. Justification for the fast track feeling based on spiritual war footing. BS. That's why they have temple commanders. Yeah. I never thought of that. But yeah, the whole temple commander thing. Because it's like a fort. It's like a fort. It's like a fortress of idiots. In ISKCON, I was just like do kirtan, eat prasadam, and chanting. I heard some of the philosophy and found is not according to even Gaudiya Shastras. Then I left. Well, good for you, man. I'm that's good. I'm glad you left. And I have to say that you're not the only one that gets in and doesn't really know what's going on. And that's another reason why I do these videos. Is because people like you, Bunny, you get involved with ISKCON. You're going to the temples, eating prasadam, chanting. You have no idea what's really in the books. You don't have any idea what they're really all about. And some people get sucked in it, and they never find out they never really know what it's all about. It's a disgusting, destructive cult. That's what it's all about. So, and then you left. So I'm glad you were able to get out. It's good, and that just shows you that a lot of people they come in contact with ISKCON, they don't really know all the history of it. It's easy to find out about it, but they just don't know about it. They just don't know. Good. Yeah, I agree. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad you got out. Do you know Mike Prabhupada was Freemasonry? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Freemasonry. I know that that's another kind of cultish type, secret society type stuff. I'm not. Good hot afternoon, Mike. Hey, how you doing, Eliana? Yeah, it's hot and rainy where I am. Well, I'll tell you, it's hot and rainy. Anyone can worship Krishna without a mantra or mandir or GBC or this whole guru business, scam pod, Prabhu fraud. Yeah, it's like, that's why it's a cult. They have to convince you to join this cult. And it's spiritual narcissism, and it's spiritual blackmail, emotional blackmail. It's everything that that doctor was saying. And then, of course, you got the child marriage. Of course, and then, that's the bonus, is you got the child marriage. So you get to scam and con and cheat and pretend and feel good about yourself and feel better than everybody else. It's got so many of these, pluses, right? I mean, those those are all pluses. I mean, why? Who doesn't want to do all that? Who doesn't want to feel like that? Who doesn't want to feel better than everybody else? I mean, I don't know. And then you get to chase after these young 11, 13-year-old girls. Doesn't every man want a 13-year-old girl? The cult thinks so. This guy had his mother out canvassing for his 13-year-old bride. The mom is walking around looking for 13-year-olds so they can marry her creepy ass son. She's walking around Mayapur looking for a 13-year-old daughter, a 13-year-old girl for her son. That's so disgusting. Ugh. It's just. Where's my. Unga! That's one of the creepiest things I ever heard. And then the woman says, my own husband was talking shit about. I got to get my daughters out of here. Get her daughters out of here. No wonder so many monks fall down. This is what they're reading. That's their entertainment, is reading about Ramananda Roy and reading about the Rasa dance and reading about the gopis and reading about Mohini and reading about Lord Shiva and Parvati. That's their that's their Pornhub. Since the monks are not really monks, it's just young men either forced or coerced to learn all the karma kanda rituals and pretend to be a know-it-all. Yeah, it's like what this lady was saying, how they pretend to be humble, but they really have delusions of grandeur. They call themselves the servant of the servant, but they're really His holiness and His divine grace. They act like they're all humble, but they demand all this service and respect. And they're not really advancing, but it just makes them feel special. I'm next to God. I'm at the top of the pyramid. And you guys are all at the bottom of the pyramid. And then under me are my guru guys, my sannyasis. And then under them are their followers that are following them. And then under them are all my Sankirtan soldiers that go out and distribute my books. And then under them are all the bhaktas that haven't been initiated yet. And then under them is the whole world. And he's sitting at the very top of this pyramid. And all these gurus think that one day they're going to be at the top of the pyramid. Jayapataka, there he is. Jai Potato Head, he thinks he's sitting on the top of a pyramid. And he's got all his followers under him. And Lokanath, he's on top of the pyramid, and he's got all his followers under. And the ultimate top is, I don't know, they're fighting it out over who's the ultimate top. It doesn't even need to be an ultimate top because they got their GBC. So that's the ultimate top, and they're all part of that. So they can all be these narcissistic guru, spiritually narcissistic guru club together. And they all feed off of each other and battle it out. See who's the ultimate scumbag. Yeah, it's a job to them, the long-term ones. They can't keep their vows. I feel sorry for them. Yeah, like Trivikram. Trivikram was probably thinking, when can I retire from this thing? And then he falls down. And he didn't fall down. The fall down happened the first time. Not all those other times weren't fall downs. He was just having fun. Let's call it what it is. Trivikram fell down the first time. Everything after that was just him. It was just him having a good time. Him having a good time. That's what that is. He failed big time. But all these guys are failures because they don't know right from wrong. They don't know how to turn in a child predator. They don't know how to fix their program when all their kids are getting molested and committing suicide. They don't know how to fix the problem that their books are full of pedophilia, sexism, racism. They're defending the fact. I'm going to show you these videos on some other shows where they got these guys defending women or less intelligent. Defending all of this crap. They got to defend it somehow. That's why I was showing you the video. Oh no, the sun is closer to the earth than the moon. We'll prove it to you. I got a PowerPoint I can show you. We didn't land on the moon. I got a PowerPoint I'm going to show you. Well, there really is a guy floating between planets with playing a guitar. I got a PowerPoint I'm going to show you. It's friggin' nonsense. And they're going to build a big planetarium that's going to show you how the planets are really in line and how the Earth is in the middle and everything is going up. There's a heavenly planet. You got to be fucking out of your mind, man. That's like a guy building Noah's Ark. I'm going to show you how all the animals fit in all the little boxes. They collected money from all these people all around the world so they can build a temple where they show you how the earth is sitting on top of a mountain and there's elephants. The earth is flat, sitting on the back. Whatever their fucked up, weird ass idea of the plan of the world is, they're going to spend all this money building this huge friggin' multi-million-dollar temple so they can show you some fantasy design of something that's not even real. Try to pass it off as science. The temple of Vedic planetarium or whatever. It is so ridiculous. It's actually disgusting that they could spend all that money to do that when there's so much that they could do with that money feeding these kids that they want to feed. You know how many books they could print if The swimmer pod wouldn't have to swim in the river anymore if they spent that money on printing books. Swimmer pod wouldn't have to go swim in the Thames every year. And Indra Yumna wouldn't have to take his girlfriends to Rishikesh every year for a vacation. Face the consequences of disaster and destruction. Goodbye. What is that? Okay. Sarata Lakshmi Jai Ho. I don't know. I guess that's a person that likes to defend the pedophile cult. So you're always gonna get people in here defending the pedophile cult. Jolynn, hey, hi Mike. Have you checked this out? When you can't defeat Mike, you threaten him. This says how much your cult has brainwashed you beyond reality. You're not happy being here. You can jolly, working well, leave. Well, it's interesting because people like Saratha Lakshmi, these high groups, they think they're the Ayatollah. They think that they are that they can put a hit on anybody. Like, they don't like what I'm saying, so then I have to be ready to face the consequences because they are in control. And people like Sarathi Lakshmi can decide who has to deal with consequences and who doesn't, like the Ayatollah or the Taliban. If you say something the Ayatollah doesn't like or the Taliban doesn't like, then they put out a hit on you and you have to face the consequences. So just like that, Gaudiya Vaishnavism and these pure devotee gurus who want to act like they're spiritual people and holy man feel like if they're unhappy, then their disciples should go out and threaten people and make them face consequences of their actions, just like the Ayatollah and the Taliban and ISIS and all these other terrorist groups do. If you say something bad against some of these people, some of these Taliban or ISIS or extremist religious groups, they feel totally in the right to put a hit out on you and threaten you with destruction and all kinds of calamities and put curses on you and voodoo dolls and whatever it is that they feel they have a right to do because they are spiritual. I don't know why. I don't know why they feel like they can do that, but they definitely feel like they have a right to threaten and eliminate people that they don't like. Last week I saw a Hare Krishna devotee with thick, dark brown Tulsi Kanta mala and eating inside a McDonald's, and he was eating a double quarter pounder beef cheeseburger with fries and Coke. I've never seen that, but I don't. I've never seen like Hare Krishnas doing stuff like that. Although they've been caught in Bangkok on Soy Cowboy, and they've been caught with underage girls in Los Angeles, and they've been caught with underage boys in New Vrindavan, and they've been caught with taxi drivers in Old Vrindavan. They've been caught doing everything with everybody. Krishna, wife, wealth, goddess, fortune, good, bad, unfortunate. Are you okay? Are you are you okay? I feel like you're having an episode or something. Warning. All right. Are we giving out warnings? I'm warning you. I'm warning you that if you don't get out of this pedophile cult, you're going to go mentally insane. And so this is my last warning for you to get out of this cult. Because if you don't get out of this cult, you will have to deal with the consequences of becoming mentally unstable and possibly committed to a mental institution. So this is my final warning to you to get out of this pedophile cult. Otherwise, you will have to face the consequences. And those consequences could cost you your mental health. You could end up insane if you continue to associate with this pedophile cult called ISKCON. So this is my final warning to you. Get out of this cult now, or you'll have to face the dangerous consequences that are going to affect your mental health in the future. Because this cult is going to cause you nothing but anxiety, depression, hallucinations, antisocial behavior, and possible self-harm. Devotees have committed suicide because of the mental stress and the spiritual blackmail and the emotional blackmail that this cult causes ordinary people. So that's my warning to you, is to get out of this cult before something horrible happens to you. I am earth cleaning world. All right. And I'm internet cleaning world. And I'm telling you, get out of this cult. Get out of it. Please use Google Translate or ChatGPT for the love of common sense. That's good advice. I have to admit, that's some good advice right there. Please use Google Translate or ChatGPT for the love of common sense. Yes, that's excellent advice. I couldn't have said it better. Because I'm losing brain cells just trying to keep up with this. Totally. There you go, the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity, and it's supersized. Can you supersize my Holy Trinity there? No, you kill Krishna's son Jesus for eating. You're definitely having an episode. I think you need to seek some kind of mental health professional so you can. Cause I'm afraid you're going to hurt yourself. Devotees have been known to cause self-harm due to this cult. I don't know if you're aware, but more than probably 30 or more grown children who grew up in the Hare Krishnas have committed suicide. And I know of at least 2 adults, or I know of 3 adults that committed suicide, and I know of 1 child that committed suicide. So I have firsthand experience dealing with devotees who have committed suicide due to exposure to this cult and the philosophy in these books. So I'm not joking when I say that I'm warning you that if you continue to associate with this cult, you could harm yourself. You can harm yourself mentally, you can harm yourself physically, you can harm yourself socially, emotionally. It's not a joke. I mean, I know I'm a funny guy and I make a lot of jokes. But I'm being completely serious when I say you need to get out of this cult, really. So yeah, it's nice to see everyone here. It's nice to see everyone here. I'm so you don't know how excited I get when I know that you're all going to be here and we can all engage and talk and share our thoughts. It's awesome. Processed veggies. I don't know, but maybe he was eating a veggie burger. I don't know. Which ISKCON do you go to, Saratha Lakshmi? Which ISKCON do you go to? I don't know. I think Saratha Lakshmi is Saratha Lakshmi's got some mental issues, because that's the normal person wouldn't come in here and talk like that. Howard Johnson. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Nice to see you online too. Howard Johnson. Yeah, Howard Johnson. And why should I go when I have temple in my heart for God and obey righteousness? So what are you doing here? We're talking about a pedophile cult and a pedophile cult leader. And if you have nothing to do with that, then why are you here? I don't understand. and I am not lamb to sacrifice for other taste buds. Okay, so let me ask you this: why are you here? I'm kind of curious. I don't really need an answer. I'm just something to talk about. Just something to talk about. Why are you here? Why are you here? You want me to reply to you in Hindi or Marathi or Tamil or man, I don't know what language. I don't know what language you could use to get through to this person. I mean, seriously. Keep temple in your heart. Be careful with temples. Yeah, it's like I already said. I already said earlier. If you want to chant and you want to worship and you want to do all that, that's fine. It has nothing to do. I'm not against that. It's like you can do it. It would be really weird for me if I said, "Hey, my friend can go play like knights in shining armor in the park in Arizona somewhere, and that's totally normal, and he's having a good time." But then you can't go play in the temple and act like you're in the 14th century Bengal, and dress up like a Goswami. I'm not. You can go do that. I just want you to know that they're both the same. There's no difference between the two. One does not have any more significance than the other. When it comes to reality, the guy playing knights in shining armor and thinks he's Sir Lancelot is no different than Swami Swimmerpod, who sits there and thinks he's friggin' a Swami in the Vaishnav Sampradaya. There's absolutely no difference. The only difference is Swimmerpod can get donations and live a nice life pretending to be this fraud. And he can fool a bunch of people. But my friend who plays Sir Lancelot and he goes and he fights these make-believe medieval battles, he can't make a living at that. He can't really go around and preach medieval shit and then get people to follow him and donate to him. To him, it's just a hobby. It's not a scam. For ISKCON, it's a hobby and a scam. They get to go swimmer pod and swim and get donations and live the high life and scam and pretend to be a holy man. And Indra Yumna Swami can go and have his Guru Palooza in Rishikesh, and he can pretend to be a holy man, and he can live high on the hog off of his donation. But my friend that cosplays at a night as knights in shining armor and has battles of Mordor and mucky muck, whatever he does, he's not doing that. He's not pretending to be a holy man and get donations and scamming people left and right. He doesn't do that. So I have a lot more respect for my friend who plays knights in shining armor and cosplays as Sir Lancelot than I do for these ISKCON buffoons who sit there on their little chair or swim up the river and are conning a bunch of people into giving them donations so they can live like some fucking holy man. I have no respect for those guys. Those guys are like, those are the worst. The only people worse than them is maybe these pimps that just prey on young girls and put them into a life of sex trade and just with no remorse and no anything, and just treat them like shit, and then that's their whole life, and they groom them and they do all that. These horrible pimp type guys that do that to these poor young women, they're probably a little bit lower than these gurus, but not much. They're pretty much on the same level, disgusting pimp abusing women and guru abusing everybody else. I don't know. I'm not sure where they fall, but that's what I think of them. Hare Krishna, myself, I am in all ISKCON as deity, God, and goddesses. You're mentally disturbed, is what you are. You're just mentally disturbed. Yeah, this is what this cult does. It's mental illness. It causes mental illness, and we have an actual mental patient in the chat with us. Mental patient, what do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say for yourself? Mental patient, you're on the air. You do not have a temple in your heart, but a deep, dark cave full of vipers and poison, like how Srila Prabhupada was poisoned by his milk being fed by his closest disciples. Do you want flood, forest fire, earthquakes in Texas, Turkey, Israel, all over the world? Yeah, so we have a mental patient in the room. Okay, so if all those things are happening now, what do we have to do with it whether we want it or not? It's already happening. So I don't understand. I don't understand what you're. I don't understand I don't understand the question. Those things are already happening. So you're saying, do you want these things to happen? I don't know. They're already happening. But what do those things happening have to do with anything else? You're just a mental patient. You're just a mental patient. Just a mental patient. I don't know, but it sounds like you just want to change the subject from what we're talking about, which is this dangerous, destructive pedophile cult. So if you want to talk about this pedophile cult and why it's not destructive and not whatever, I'll be happy to have that discussion with you. It's happening in the Hare Krishna temple. Women abuse children, abuse all Krishna cults, Prabhupada, Narayan Maharaj. Yes, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the abuse and the spiritual narcissism in the ISKCON and how it relates to gurus. So if you have something to add to that, you can. If you don't, then it's okay. We're not gonna rush. Incarnate. Yeah. Okay. So if you're incarnated, well, I would think that if you really had something to say in the conversation, you would have said it by now, and you haven't really said anything except act like an idiot. So, Hare Krishna doing drugs, abusing women and children, we will not tolerate. They are being reports to the FBI. Yeah, these Hare Krishnas, like, I don't know. These guys should be flagged for like international travel. They shouldn't be able to travel. Like, if they're, well, see, that's the thing. These predators, because they're not reported to the police, they have no criminal record. They never suffer the consequences of their criminality, and they're allowed to travel, right? Because they're not charged with anything. They're not convicted of anything. There's nothing on their record. They skate free. So they can travel around the world. They got their passport. They're not on any list. They're not on any sex offender list. They're not on any terrorism list. They're not anything because ISKCON protects them. So these guys, this Bhaktividyapurna Swami, he can be responsible for 30, 40, 50 kids being molested in his school in India. He can directly be responsible for that. And he's free to do whatever because he's never going to be charged with it. He's never going to be convicted. Same thing with the guy who touched my daughter. He's just free to just travel wherever he wanted. He was able to stay in the LA temple until he found an apartment, and then he moved out of the community. And then he was gone. Off to go touch somebody else. Who knows where he is now? Who knows how many little girls he's touched? His whole MO was, I'm going to go work in a private school, and maybe I can touch some little girls. And then he just, once he got caught, he bounced out. Never to be heard from him again. Who knows where the guy could be in Tucson, Arizona. He could be in Cleveland, Ohio. He could be in Dallas. He could be in Houston. He could be back in India somewhere. Who knows? How many of these guys are there? A lot of them. They're all over the place. That's why I said these little girls in these videos of these little 11, 13, 10, 9, 10, 11-year-old girls when they turn 13, so someone's going to be coming for them. I got a 37-year-old son. He needs a 13-year-old wife. I got a 25-year-old disciple. He needs a wife. He keeps bugging me about a wife. I got to find him a wife. How old is your daughter? Is she 13 yet? That's what this bullshit is. Fucking disgusting. And people want to come in here and act like that ain't what it is. Look at this fool. This fool come in here and disrupt my chat. Also fake television. Yeah, so you're totally delusional. When ISKCON is perfect, I will think about it. Then what do we got here? If you had said goodbye, why are you still here then? She can stay as long as you want. She needs to be deprogrammed is what she needs. This Lakshmi needs to be deprogrammed. Lakshmi needs to be deprogrammed. Russia earthquake, oh Jesus came second time, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you got a lot to say, but you're saying nothing. I'm so tired. No, you're here. Krishna sent you here to hear the truth. This is a bunch of bullshit. That's why you're here. And you need to stay here and hear all of it. You need to stay here and hear all of it. This is all a bunch of bullshit. There's no demon head eating the moon. Okay? There's no demon head eating the moon. Nrsingadev didn't jump out of a pillar. Okay? He just didn't do it. There's no four-headed guy growing out of a flower. You need to hear this. You need to hear this probably more than anybody in this room right now. You need to hear it. And that's why you're here. Krishna sent you here for a reason. Krishna sent you to hear this so that you can hear what real people that are not brainwashed think of people like you. We know you're mentally ill. We know you're delusional. We know you're in a cult. We understand that. We understand it so well. And don't talk bullshit to me. Don't talk bullshit to me. Don't think I'm an idiot. Come in here and talk shit like that. Like you're some spiritually advanced idiot. You're gonna talk like you're a guru or something. Don't fuck with me like that. Okay guys, continue by because I can't take each other's fights and war ongoing. No, you got to go because you don't want to hear the truth that you're in a fucking pedophile cult. That's what it is. You need to stay and listen to me tell you that you're in a fucking pedophile cult and then you need to get out of it. And you're not allowed to leave. You can't leave. Who the fuck said you could leave? You can't leave. Fuck you and your earth lost its balance. I'm here to tell you that you're mentally ill and you need to get out of your fucking pedophile cult. And if you would just post your real name, because I don't like calling you your fucking Sarathasi Lakshmi. You fucking got a real name and you're a real fucking idiot. And you're here, you can't leave this room. You're not allowed to leave this room. You need to sit here and listen to the truth about how you're full of shit. And your cult is full of shit. And your guru's full of shit. And you're going to tell me that you're not in ISKCON. I know fucking good and well you're in ISKCON. You're a fucking delusional piece of shit. you need to get out of this fucking cult because your mind is so fucked up. You don't know what you're saying. You can't even speak the truth. You can't even have a normal conversation about reality. That's how fucking deluded you are. Everything to you is about God and the heart and this and that. Why don't you fucking just talk about reality? Talk something real. Post one sentence that's fucking makes sense, that's real, that's not this fucking trance fucking stupid cult talk. I mean, god damn. Seriously, man. This is an example of the mental illness that these people have. They want to defend the cult and be in the cult, and at the same time say they're not in the cult and they're not. I mean, it's just that they're mentally gone. But they want to come in here because I have something to say. They got nothing to say, but I got something to say. So they want to come in here, but they don't want to just hear it because it is too mentally just they don't have enough brain cells firing. They just don't. Cannot have a normal conversation. Paid in per shot. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. ISKCON has no good but evils. ISKCON is like this pure evil. There's nothing more evil than trafficking little kids around the world for sex. I think that's probably one of the most evil things. And when you listen to these women talk about how they were trafficked around the world when they were underage so that men could have sex with them, it's disgusting. And that's what this cult is. They still have women in Mayapur asking women about their daughters. Hey, your daughter looks pretty good. Will she marry my creepy 37-year-old son? That shit is still going on. And not just in Mayapur. That's what this friggin' cult is. Disgusting. You need to work on your brain like that. Yeah, this a lost cause. But people like Lakshmi, so this is exactly what this doctor was talking about. This spiritual narcissism. It gets in. It's built into the fabric of this cult. So that once you're involved in this cult, you adopt these narcissistic tendencies. All of that things that she was talking about how you're doing it, you're not progressing, but it makes you feel better, and you're doing it to feel better, but you're not really helping. All the things that she's talking about that applies to the guru, you as a disciple are taking it on as well. The philosophy, the mannerisms, everything, including the narcissism, the false humility. Oh, I'm just a humble servant of the servant, but I'm advancing. I'm advanced. I chant 16 rounds a day, and I got my head shaved, and I got tilak on, and I'm wearing a devotee, and he's not. I'm wearing a dhoti, but he doesn't wear a devotee. And I go to Mangal Arti, but I don't see anybody else going to Mangal Arti. And I go out on Harinam and I distribute books, but I don't see anybody else going on. All this bullshit. This is all a bunch of bullshit. And that's the narcissism. And you take it on. You take it on. Like my friend Radha Kun. Why aren't you offering me obeisances? Don't you know I'm your senior godbrother? You should be offering me obeisances. You think Radhakunda was a naturally born narcissist, or did he get it from Prabhupada? He wants me to say the Prabhupada prayers to him. Or the Vaishnav prayers to him. He wanted me to basically be his servant. Basically, he wanted me to be his assistant. Like if he told me to do something, I was supposed to do it. If he needed money, I was supposed to lend it to him. If he needed to buy something from the shop in Vrindavan, I was supposed to help him pay for it. If he didn't have the money, well, why can't you loan me the money? I'll pay you back. You're not going to pay me back. You've never paid a person back in your life. Oh, don't be offensive, man. Don't be offensive. Just loan me 300 rupees. Don't be offensive. I'm a spiritual blackmail, emotional blackmail, false humility. All of these things that she's talking about that apply to the guru, that apply to the cult founder. They all apply to all these bogus gurus, Jayapataka and all of these guys. They have the same qualities, same false humility, the same I'm pure devotee. Krishna's working through me. Lakshmi, nobody cares what you have to say. Absolutely. I don't care what you have to say. You need to shut up and just listen to me. You need to listen to what I have to say. This is my channel. This is my chat, and you need to shut the fuck up and just listen, or you're never going to get deprogrammed. So just stop commenting, stop posting shit in the chat, and just listen. I know you're a brainwashed cult member, but you need to just shut the fuck up and listen to me. This is bullshit. You need to get the fuck out of this cult. You understand? I'm telling you. I'm warning you. This is your final warning. Otherwise, you're going to have to face the goddamn consequences of a whole life in this goddamn cult. Wasted. Wasted. You're going to waste your entire life in this cult. You're going to be on your deathbed going, the fuck did I do? I pray you find peace and wisdom to leave the cult called ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada, as well as the books which are dangerous to humanity. Stay safe, read up, listen to Mike, and learn. Yeah, you need to shut up and just listen. Because I can rescue you from this cult. This is what this channel is all about. It's all about people like you coming in here, shutting up and listening to me. And then your life will be happy. You need to shut up, listen to me, and be happy. How's that? How's that for a slogan? It's not chant and be happy. It's shut up and listen to Mike and be happy. I'm going to make up some stickers. It's going to say, shut up, listen to Mike, and be happy. Okay? And then I'm going to send them to you, and you can stick them all over everything. U.S. Department of Justice is getting huge report for discrimination against women in their temples by Gaudiya Narayan Maharaj, who claims he is Prabhupada's successor. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I know Narayan Maharaj claimed he was Prabhupada's successor, and now he's gone. So there you have it. There you have it. That's what happens when you become the successor. Eventually you die, and then someone becomes after you. I don't know who's after him. Supposedly there was someone who kind of claimed to be the successor after Narayan Maharaj. I can't remember his name because I really don't give a shit about Narayan Maharaj. And I didn't give a shit about them when I was in ISKCON. But I know there was one guy who kind of tried to take over. I think his name was Ananta something or Ananda something. I don't remember what his name. But there was one guy who tried to take over, say that he tried to claim that he was the head guy. And I'm not sure if she. I don't know if they did or not. Yeah, these Hare Krishnas will say anything. They'll say anything. They lie. They cheat. That you can't believe anything they say. Perhaps you could lay off watching movies such as Final Destinations and read up on religions are commonly being used as tools to manipulate humankind for abuse and deception. should really just read up on cults and rape culture. That's what you need to do. You need to read up on cults and pedophilia and how almost every cult is into pedophilia. You know, like Mormons and Jehovah's Witness, and you know, all of them. They're all into. It's all. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it yet. Um, but you should look up on that. You should look into that. That's what you should do. That's my instruction to you. That's my personal instruction to you, is to learn more about cults, and that'll help you get out. Because the goal here is just to help you get out. You need to get out. You need to, like, I can tell by the way you post, and the whole thing that you're doing is just cultish. It's just cultish, and you that's it. It's cultish. And I know, because I was in the cult for 20 years. I'm convinced now that I'm a cult expert. Uh, I'm a cult expert, and I'm an expert on these things. I'm a cult expert, and I know right away. I can tell right away that you're in the cult. So it's very common to develop mental issues from the trauma, PTSD. This cult will cause you. Yes, absolutely. It's not like you leave the cult and then your mental illness goes away. The trauma from leaving the cult can compound the trauma from being in the cult. That's why a lot of people, when they leave cults, still tend to be cultish in a lot of their activities, a lot of their things, because it kind of got mixed together in their trauma, their PTSD. I know a lot of ex-Scientology people act like they're still in Scientology. Their behavior, the way they treat people, their attitudes is still very cultish. And I believe that is from the mental illness of being in the cult combined with the trauma of leaving the cult. It's very traumatic leaving the cult. So you've got to, and then if you not just leaving the cult, but if you've been traumatized in the cult, like domestic abuse, like having a chair thrown at your unborn baby that's inside your stomach, that's even worse. Even worse. And that's also why a lot of these grown kids committed suicide. It's the trauma of being in the cult, of being abused in the cult, and then can you imagine growing up in a cult, being abused as a child in the cult. You don't realize you're in a cult because you grow up in it, and that's your world. Then you realize you were in a cult, and then you realize your parents voluntarily raised you in that cult. Like you were born in Cleveland, Ohio. You didn't have to go to Gurukula in India. Your parents abandoned you into this cult, and you ended up traumatized. I mean, that's just like trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. So that's, I can't even. Shri 1008. So you're here to be deprogrammed too. You need to come back when the show starts. Watch this show from the beginning, because this show is now over. This show is ending. Shri Jagat Mahaguru. It's Shri Makundadas. Shri Makundadas. Rose Jasmine Rosemary. We'll do that on my Vyasa Puja. Maybe more people should be Hare Krishnas with less pedophiles in the movement. Yeah, you got to clean up those pedophiles. Oh, look, there are the flowers. Woo, flowers. If abusers actually got punished, each and every year we are seeing more and more unsuspecting individuals joining ISKCON, RISKCON, Gaudiya, and Ritwik groups, whether from Hong Kong or China, Asia, or Eastern Europe. Oy vey. Yes. And the children are in danger. These little children that are being brought into this. Shri is up for a rude awakening. Yeah. They're all wearing emperor's new clothes, have never had darshan of Krishna, don't even know who their founder guru is. They pretend the scriptures don't discriminate against women, the root of all evil. I know, it's all of this stuff is right up front in the beginning. In fact, it's in the beginning of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, the introduction. Prabhupada lays out that women are the problem in society. Women having unwanted children, women seeking independence, women's liberation. Prabhupada spells it right out in the very beginning. And then it just gets worse from there. It just gets worse from there. However, most of them never had any darshan of anything but the false imagery and mirage of pomp, grandeur, and pervading perversion, emotional blackmail, and false humility is their game. You know, the video that I showed earlier of Dr. Anna and the way she explains spiritual narcissism, it just explains everything. She just explains it all better than anyone can explain it. She's a doctor and she understands the mind. But she just explains it so well. So I encourage everyone to go back and watch that video again without me interrupting you. And really listen to what she's saying and how it applies to not only the gurus, not only to Prabhupada, but to the gurus, the GBC, and the followers as well. It applies to everyone. It's part of what it's part of what the cult is. Just like it creates pedophiles, it creates narcissistic, spiritually inept gurus and wannabe gurus. My real guru says, it's not an ISKCON guru, it's better to be an atheist and have good heart and genuine compassion than being a religious fanatic. Yeah. That makes sense. Anything's better than being a religious fanatic, I guess. Anything's better than being, this guy don't have a lot of actual kind, compassionate, caring people. It's just a game. They don't. They don't have. Someone said this once, and I really, man, it really hit home. And they said, "There's no love in ISKCON. There's no love in ISKCON. There's love. They pretend there's love for Prabhupada, and they pretend that they love Krishna, but there's really no love at all. Because how do you really love this Krishna statue? Is that, and even if you really do love the statue of Krishna, is it really love? Is it the same as love between two people? A man and a woman, a father and child, a mother and child, or whatever? Does it even come close? Loving this microphone, and I say, "Oh, I just love this microphone. I love how it looks. I love it. It works so well." And what does that mean? So there really is no love, because there's no love for each other in ISKCON. That's fake. That is all fake. And there's no love at all in ISKCON. Love for what? For selling Prabhupada's books? For this statue of this old man that's sitting in this chair? There's no love. If the highest form of love is loving the statue that can't love you back, that gives you nothing in return, that just stands there, and you're throwing flowers at it and water and food and all these things, and you're saying how much you love it, and it's just standing there. The mental illness? If that's your idea of love, how do you treat people? I'm just throwing this out there. If your idea of the highest form of love is loving the statue with water and flowers and incense and ringing your bells and doing all this, what do you think of people? How do you treat people? Just an ordinary person. Where's the love? Ringing a bell and circling some incense around some statue's head? And I'm not saying it doesn't make you happy. It can make you happy just like if you were doing, ballet or whatever you're doing that's making you happy. I'm not saying ringing the bells and doing the incense thing, doing the twirlies with the incense. I'm not saying that doesn't make you happy. But it's not doing anything else. And it's certainly not love. Certainly not love. And it's not teaching you love. And it's not teaching you how to love a child or another person. It's not teaching you that. It's not teaching you anything. It's teaching you mental illness is what it's teaching. I mean, you want to get right down to it. It's teaching you how to be a mental patient. Because if you walked into a mental institution and you saw somebody in their room and they had a statue of Mr. Potato Head, and you saw this person and they're offering incense and flowers and food, and you go, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm offering this to my guru, Mr. Potato. This guy's nuts. Well, yeah, he's in a mental institution. Of course he's nuts. What's the difference? What's the difference? You got to be. You got. It makes more sense to worship my Mr. Potato Head than it makes to worship the swimmer pod who's taking your money, buying a $400 wetsuit, or having you buy the $400 wetsuit. Either way, it's the same thing. And then swimming up the river, and he's convincing you that he's doing that because he wants to print some books in Turkey. You got to be out of your mind, man. It makes a hell of a lot more sense for me to be worshiping my little Mr. Giant Potato Head than to be worshiping this swimmer pod who's just taking money out of people's pockets and going and swimming, doing a little swimmer marathon on my dime. You gotta be out of your mind. You gotta be out of your mind. I'm gonna send him $100 or whatever so he can go do his thing. I'll worship my little Mr. Potato before I do that. Exactly. I'm going to write a book. Shut up and listen to me and be happy. I do hope your guru is not Agoracharya Vishnu Swami Tota Gopinath Das Suriramas. Yeah. Yeah. Watch out for him. Watch out for him. No, bro, it's not. Hey, Bunny, who is your guru? Is your guru Devamrita Swami? I bet your guru is Devamrita Swami. Are you the nut that went over to India to milk a cow? Are you the one that got a book because your grandmother passed away? You got a book, and they convinced you to go to India and milk a cow, and you went to India and you milked a cow, and then you came back. And you got initiated by Devamrita Swami, and you ended up in Gita Nagari. Is that you? Are you that idiot? Are you that idiot? I'll bet that's you, huh? You got initiated by Devamrita Swami, and now you can't take a shit without calling him and texting him and telling him what you're doing, huh? That's you, huh? What a fucking idiot you are. Exposed. What a fucking idiot you are. Do you have fun milking that cow? Do you have fun milking that cow? I can't keep up on these comments, but Where's Bunny? I want to know how that cow, how did it work out milking that cow. Just curious, what do you think of Krishna outside of ISKCON context? Yeah, I don't. It's not a big deal to me. I'm all against pedophile cult. So you want to go to a Krishna temple and take some flowers and say some mantras and do your thing? I don't give a shit. I don't care. That's fine with me. But I don't want anybody to end up like Bunny, who gets a book of pedophile stories and women hating, racist, sexist crap. And then they end up over in India milking a cow. And then they come back over here and they take initiation from Deva Amrita Swami. And then they go and end up in Gita Nagari. And then they're editing these fucking books and doing computer work for the fucking stupid ass pedophile cult. I don't want anybody to end up like that. Fuck that. Don't end up like that. You gotta be a fucking idiot to end up like that. Huh, Bunny? Right, Bunny? You don't want to end up like that. I think we figured out who Bunny is, because Bunny ain't talking no more. Bunny bounced out like a hip hop bunny bounced. Little bunny bounced right out of here. All right, hip hop and bunny. Broader Hinduism, Krishna is just an avatar, Lord Sri Mahavishnu in the Bhagavad Gita, not the other way around as propounded by Gaudiyas. You can have your Hinduism if you want to have your Hinduism, and that's fine. I don't care. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm not for taking 13-year-old girls and marrying them off to 37-year-old creeps. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. I don't know how people get it twisted and think that because I'm against a cult of pedophiles who want to have sex with 13-year-old girls and run off and with gurus who run off with 13-year-old, 14-year-old girls and have sex with little boys and molest little girls in Mayapur and molest little boys in Vrindavan. I don't understand how my being against that cult makes me anti-Hindu. I just don't understand it. Is all of Hindu a pedophile cult? Is that what these people are trying to say? That every Hindu in the world likes pedophilia? Because if that's what it is, I'm shocked. I had no idea that every Hindu has to defend pedophilia. But every Hindu that comes in here identifies the ISKCON pedophile cult with their Hindu culture, and I don't understand why they get it twisted like that. Maybe Bunny can tell me, since Bunny knows so much. Bunny's been a Hare Krishna for like a year now. Maybe Bunny can tell me. Maybe Bunny can enlighten me about the intricacies of Krishna consciousness and Gaudiya Vaishnavism as taught by Lord Chaitanya and documented by the 6 Goswamis. Maybe Bunny can tell me about what the nectar of the nectar of devotion, what the essence of the nectar of devotion is. Bunny, can you have any thoughts on the nectar of devotion? Can you tell me what that's all about? Bunny? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. I want to hear what you have to say, bro. What happened, bro? You don't want to talk no more, bro? You too busy milking that cow? Need a Gita Nagari? Is that what you're doing? Too busy with cow milking time now? Did Dave Amrita call you and say, hey, don't watch that video. I don't want you to watch that video anymore, Bunny. You can't watch that video. I want you to go milk some cows. Is that what happened? Dave Amrita got a hold of you? Told you not to watch the video no more? A lot of Hindus are against learning Krishna's pastimes because of the fact that there is imitation. Yeah, they should. They should. A lot of Hindus know that Krishna was stealing butter and having sex, doing all these things, being naughty, the gopis. They know. They know. And here, ISKCON is this weird cult around this guy, this sex cult, this pedophile cult, this cult based around a guy who has sex with 11-year-old girls down by the river. Oh, here he is. Oh, Bunny, you've been for 20 years in Hare Krishna. I don't know why you can't feel anything about anything. No, Bunny, who's your guru? Is your guru Devamrita Swami? He won't let you take a shit uh, without letting him know what you're doing. Is that your guru, Devamrita Swami? You picked a black body Swami. You know what Prabhupada said about blacks? He didn't call them blacks, though. He called them Negroes. You know what Prabhupada said about Negroes, bro? You know what he said about them, bro? You have any idea what he said about Negroes, bro? Oh, they should be slaves? Who the fuck is these guys? Who the fuck are you, Bunny? What's your real name? What's your initiated name and who's your guru? I want to hear you say my guru is Devamrita Swami and I was in India milking a cow. And now I live at Gita Nagari on a farm and I'm I'm helping to translate these pedophilia books. Come on, Bunny, just be honest with us. Be honest with us, bro. Be honest with us, bro. Tell us how you got into this friggin' pedophile cult and how you took initiation from Devamrita Swami. Come on, bro. Come clean with us. Bunny thinks he's being honest and he's on this path, the spiritual path of truthful. He's satyam, he's honest, he's on a spiritual level. Devamrita's teaching him special knowledge, but he can't even be honest and tell us what his initiated name is, and he can't even tell us who his guru is. And yet he wants us to think that he's in ISKCON and he's a spiritual holy man now. He's a holy man now. He shaved his head. He's got a sika. He wears beads, but he can't be honest and tell us who his guru is. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to share with us who his guru is, what fucking fake ass guru he has, and how bogus he is. Because he knows that once he says his guru's name, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, that guy, that pedophile, don't you know that he did this and he did that? Should we spin the wheel? I got Devamrita's name on the wheel. We can spin the wheel. Should we spin the wheel and see if it comes up on Devamrita Swami? Here we go. Here's the wheel. The wheel of fucking idiots. Right here. And as you can see, Devamrita Swami's name is right on there. So let's spin this and let's see who it is. Too late now, Bunny. It's too late now, Bunny. I don't believe you, Bunny. I don't believe you, Bunny. I don't believe you, bro. I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit. But it landed on a chucha gopi. Let's look at a chucha gopi, can we? Let's go look and see what. Let's take a look at her and see what she has to say. Oh, we got a commercial. I hate the Tai Chi guy. I really hate the Tai Chi guy. Okay, here she is. Wow. Hey, Bunny, I don't believe you, man. I don't believe you. It was like 2 years I had been there, and then I left ISKCON. Sure, I don't believe you. I believe you're still in ISKCON. I believe you're Dave Amrita Swami's disciple, and I believe you were in India milking a cow, and I believe that you got a book when your grandmother passed away, rest her soul. And you got brainwashed into becoming Dave Amrita Swami's disciple. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I don't care. That's what I believe. And that's what I believe. So let's get back to her. Let's hear her sing.
Radhe, Radhe Govinda.
Okay, so as you can see, she's either, I don't know anything about this woman. I don't know anything about her. She's either black or she's either African American or she's African or she's from some African country or somewhere. She's not white. She's African or black. Or as Prabhupada would say, she's a Negro. So we know what Prabhupada thought about Negroes. He didn't like Negroes. He said they're ugly. He said they belong in the jungle. He said they should never have been given, they were slaves and they never should have been given freedom from the slaves, from slavery. So Prabhupada was for slavery. He didn't think that the Negroes in the South, in America, should have been freed. He wasn't for that. He thought that was wrong. He wasn't for civil rights. He said civil rights was wrong. He said, just like in your America, now you have given Negroes civil rights, and all they do is cause disturbance. He said they were just drunkards and alcoholics. And if you build a library, they just come for drinking and not reading. But he did say that he would take the good ones. He said the good Negroes, they could join his movement if they were the good Negroes, but he didn't want those vicious animals from Detroit. He didn't want them. But he could use the good ones. He'd put them to work selling his books. He had no problem with that. She doesn't care about all that. She doesn't care about all that. She doesn't care about all that. She just wants to sing her song. And the fact that she's a woman, which means she's less intelligent, has a small brain, she's 9 times lustier than men, she can't be trusted, she can be smacked around a bit if she gets out of line, that's fine. So she's a black woman. So now you have 2 things against her. This is what Prabhupada really thought. This is what Prabhupada really thought of blacks. Radhe, Radhe Govinda. We'll use her because she's a good one. She's one of the good ones, evidently. She's one of the good ones. She's not one of those vicious ones from Detroit. She's one of the good ones. So we'll use her. In fact, we'll use her for kirtan because she's got a voice. She got a nice voice, and she can sing, and she'll attract other good black people. The vicious ones we don't want, but the good black people, we can use her to attract the good black people, the good Negroes, as Prabhupada would say. I don't understand how these black folks can join this cult, read these books, and then sit there in the middle of a group like this and act like these people don't believe all the shit that's in these books. Like these men don't think that she's less intelligent and has a small brain, and she's 9 times lustier than men. She's gonna sit there and act like these men don't think that. Like they don't believe these things in their book. She wants everyone to believe this what's in these books, but when it comes to the women having small brains and less intelligent and don't be trusted and can be smacked around, I guess she doesn't think that they believe that. They believe the demon head's eating the moon, but they don't believe all the stuff that Prabhupada says about Negroes. I guess she kind of just figures they're not going to believe that. If that's not mental illness, I don't know what is. She's got to be mentally disturbed to actually sit there and think and know what's in these books and what Prabhupada says about blacks and women, and to sit there as a black woman in front of this whole group of people, and she doesn't think that they believe what Prabhupada says about blacks and women. And she's sitting there singing. I don't believe Bunny either. You can't believe these people. I don't believe Bunny. I think I know who Bunny is. Bunny's exactly who I said he is. Bunny's exactly who I said he is. Rade. Oh. What can make you believe myself? Nothing. There's nothing you can say. You can confess and say that I'm right, but other than that, there's nothing you can say. Until the real Bunny comes in and says, "No, I'm that person, and I'm that you're that person." Why are you here, Bunny? And that's what makes me believe that you're that person, because that's why you're here. That's why I won't believe you. There's nothing you can say that's going to convince me. I believe that you're the person I say you are simply because you're here. Well, you can say who your initiating guru is and which temple where he comes from. No, he's not going to say that. All he has to do is just say, "Yeah, I'm that person," because I already said it all. I already know. I was in the Delhi temple. ISKCON Punjabi Bagh. All right, so if you're not in ISKCON, if you're not in the ISKCON pedo cult, why are you here? Are you want to learn about the ISKCON pedo cult? I believe Bunny. Yeah, we're gonna put it to my college was in Delhi. If this guy is listening, they should take notes on all the things they need to fix. I never had success in Kantamali, just my bead bag, so it was easy to move out from ISKCON. I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe you. Yeah, I don't know, buddy. I don't think you're. I don't believe you. That's just my gut. Um, but I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not perfect. I don't know. I'll admit it when I'm wrong. That's one thing I'll do. I'll definitely admit when I'm wrong. But as of right now, I don't believe you. I believe you're who I think you are, and and I'm gonna just leave it at that. But I'm glad you're here because it doesn't matter. Everybody here, we're all here for the reason, and that's because we were abused by ISKCON, and we want to help stop the abuse of ISKCON, and we want to spread awareness that ISKCON is abusive, and that's really the main point of all of this: is that ISKCON is abusive, Krishna cults are abusive, and we're all here to support each other and raise awareness so that the abuse, will stop. That's the main thing. So thanks for coming in, Bunny. I hope you come back. I really hope you come back and we can learn more about you, and you can learn more about us, and we can continue with this great thing that we got going here. So I want to thank everybody for this. Please go watch that video with Dr. Anna. It's called Psychology with Dr. Anna. She's really good. She has a lot of other videos. I haven't seen them yet, but she's really good. And you can check out that Hare Krishna Cult Exposed page, Hare Krishna Cult Exposed.blogspot.com. You can read a lot of great stuff about the Krishna cult there from someone who was there in the beginning, eyewitness, firsthand account of everything. Unlike me, I'm not a firsthand witness to a lot of stuff. So you can go check out that Hare Krishna Cult Exposed.blogspot.com. You can learn a lot there. So please, everybody, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I want to thank you all for watching today. This has been a great show. I hope you learned a lot. I did. I learned a lot from you guys, and it's been great. Please, everybody, have a great day, a great morning, great afternoon, great evening. Have some great luck. Please stay out of a cult. And this is for you, Bunny. You can see me as a Hare Krishna a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This was Mike as a Hare Krishna.